schoolers. In Japanese, the word kokoro is all about the connection between heart, mind, and spirit. If you write kokoro as a kanji character, it literally means center, heart, and mind. The shape of the character originated from the shape of the human heart. Just as the heart has 4 parts, the character has 4 strokes. If you ask a Japanese person where the mind is located, many will point to their chest, whereas many Western people will point to their heads. Japanese people think from the heart at the same time that they feel from the heart. I like to use the word kokoro because the closest word in English, mindset, doesn't address the connection between the heart, the mind, and the spirit when our kids are striving towards optimal performance. There's a few forces that work within my use of the word kokoro. Motivation, heart, skill development, head, and forward movement towards meaningful, purposeful goals, hands. Our thoughts hold information, emotions, and physical experiences. We expect and believe based on how we think, feel, and respond. And because our thoughts are made up of those 3 parts, we can experience signals that are both emotional and physical before we consciously experience awareness. We can't separate the emotion and the physical feelings of learning from the informational experience, as the 3 work together in concert. We spend a lot of time within education teaching knowledge and a bit less time teaching skills. We don't spend much time learning how to regulate emotions or how to create a positive motivation, the heart, how to learn, the head, or how to move forward when we feel stuck, the hands. These skills are trainable, and if we can teach this capacity for shifting our mental states, our kids will have a distinct advantage along any life path. When learning how to drop into a flow state, kids are learning a state of consciousness rather than a set of skills. If kids can learn how to access creativity, critical thinking, optimal learning, adaptability, and emotional regulation, for example, then the primary skills of reading, writing, or coding, or mathematical application will come so much more easily. Let's take each of these in turn. Heart motivation, choice, connection, passion, optimism. A child's motivation is built upon curiosity, connection between passion and purpose, and competence. When learning is tough, what is that long-term goal, that big, bold goal that drives your child to keep going? Learning how to draw upon positive motivation can help a child handle failures and setbacks. Let's move to the head. Skills, competence, clear goals, challenge, skill, balance. We want work that's not too hard and not too easy. And we learn best through ongoing feedback. Children start off setting clear goals to learn very basic skills. Learning how to metaphorically crawl, slowly building capacity to walk, and later mastery of learning to run. What strategies and techniques can children apply to ensure that learning sticks in long-term memory? We want skills that are not too easy and not too hard, and those are best developed in supportive environments with lots of consistent feedback. Let's go look at the hands. That forward movement into the real world, progress towards meaningful, purposeful goals, and real-world applications. Children can learn how to access flow, dropping into that state of optimal performance, where kids might develop their curiosities such that they morph into passions and build into a life purpose. Children feel their best and perform their best when using their passions and interests to do something meaningful for other people. In the university courses that I teach, I work with graduate students that are either already teachers or training to be teachers at some point. Our discussions will land on motivation. In coercive educational environments like traditional schools, kids don't always want to do what the teachers want them to do. When faced with this common challenge, most of my graduate students will describe the rewards and the punishments, the daily behavioral reports, the prizes, the praise that they're going to use to get kids to comply. It's what teachers do. And if we're honest, it's maybe what every one of us has resorted to at one point or another just to survive the day. I don't know about you, but it usually leaves me feeling a little disappointed by the manipulation. Is there a better way? Can we move away from this tendency when learning outside of school? Let's understand a bit more about motivation to find out. Motivation, or the energy to act, used to be about survival, a biological drive to stay alive. As society became more complex, we initially understood motivation to be a system of rewards, sometimes called carrots, and punishment, sometimes called sticks. Most of the way our society works is still based on carrots and sticks. But we are also understanding that these rewards and punishments don't work all that well. When we do a task for money or for someone else's approval, for example, something external, we lose creativity, productivity, and quality of work because we often just want to get it done as quickly as possible to reap the reward. Children are no different. The promise of praise or grades externally encourages many kids to complete a task, often with little regard for actual learning. In schools, only a select few are rewarded. And that leaves the rest of the group in some type of loser category. In addition, we've tied seat time to graduation. And the work in school is often just about getting through it to get the reward of the diploma or the degree. In other environments, such as youth sports programs, all children are given a medal or a trophy, whether or not they have earned it, which undermines the natural feedback system that children need to gain competence. People are always motivated. What matters is the high or low quality of the energy, the motivation within our kids. According to author Dan Pink, carrots and sticks can lead to 7 deadly flaws. They can extinguish intrinsic motivation. They can diminish performance. They can crush creativity. They can crowd out good behavior. They can encourage cheating, shortcuts, and unethical behavior. They can become addictive, and they can foster short-term thinking. Let's look at extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is a reward that happens outside of myself, such as grades or praise or popularity. There's a type of extrinsic motivation called disinterested motivation. And that happens when I can't find value in the work that I'm doing. When kids are disinterested, they might say they don't care. They might say they're too overwhelmed. They might say, I don't have the energy to manage what's required. So lots of energy needs to be put out to slog through something that's coming from disinterested motivation. So external motivation is what we typically think of in this category. It's driven by scores, by grades, by praise. So kids have been maybe promised a tangible reward or an incentive. So I expect it will bring me power, enhanced image, or status. I hope I'm going to receive people's love or respect. It's enticing, it's tempting. It can prompt unethical behavior. It's ends above the means. So in my mind, I might picture a volleyball player that keeps eyes on the scoreboard instead of the ball that's in play. There's another type of extrinsic motivation called imposed motivation, and that's based on fear, pressure, or shame. I want to avoid damaging a relationship with someone that has expectations of me. I might feel guilt or shame or disappointment with myself. I feel pressure. I must do whatever this thing is. I fear what might happen if I don't. It can be irritating, and it's really common throughout most people's day. It feels like pressure. I have to do it. Now let's flip to the other side and look at common intrinsic motivation. Psychological and emotional feelings that come from within me, such as meaning, curiosity, passion, purpose. One type of intrinsic motivation is aligned motivation. I recognize that my work helps me fulfill meaningful values. I can demonstrate important values. I derive a sense of meaning. I have made a conscious and deliberate choice. I make conscious choices based on the value of the goal or the activity. The more I align, the more authentic I am. Conscious choices are made about what I deem right and wrong, good and bad. I need to know what my values are here. Values I develop myself are freely chosen and most effective. Values are not programmed as part of the culture, but valid for me as an individual. Another type is integrated motivation, and that comes from my learning supporting who I am. I feel a deep sense of purpose. I'm being the person I want to be. I'm tapping into a conscious and automatic way of being. Motivation here is consciously developed, but it doesn't feel conscious because I define myself that way. Because my motivation is internalized, my habits have become my identity. Achieving my goals is essential to how I define myself. My self-concept supports my goal and develops by evolving over time, or it might come in a flash through some type of insight or emotional event. I'm striving to achieve my goals, and that generates a type of purpose or meaning in my life. Forming my identity around my goals makes forward movement a must. Another type of intrinsic motivation is inherent. And those are the things we do because we love them. We are having so much fun and enjoyment that we have this unexplainable interest and attraction to those things. I've always gravitated to it naturally, you might hear. I feel totally immersed in what I'm doing. I'm in a flow state. I enjoy the activity regardless of its value and purpose. I'm intrinsically motivated to achieve my goal for the fun and the enjoyment of it. Time flies by. Positivity and creativity abound. If I'm not sure what intrinsically motivates me, or your child, you might reflect on what that child gravitates towards. What do you gravitate towards when you have free time on your hands? Notice the different types of motivation in your own life. There's different nuances to each of them. Where do you feel the rub of extrinsic motivation? And where do you notice those positive bursts of intrinsic energy? When interacting with your child, start to become aware of the different types of motivation you use and your child uses. What are you tapping into? We're going to dive into choice, connection, and competence in upcoming videos. And until then, have some fun bold schooling.